Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, my yogis. Welcome, my friends. Hello, my name is Jason Gorenstein, and this is our uh, Hatha Yoga Level 1-2 class on Facebook Live. As many of you know, we live stream classes every day on Facebook Live. And I hope that you're having a wonderful day today. Today being Tuesday, June the 23rd, 2020. The time is 6 a.m., just a minute or two past 6 a.m. So I hope that you're having a wonderful day today. This is a beginner's class. This is Hatha Yoga, as I shared, level 1. And without further ado, let us begin. We're going to actually start seated today in a pose called Virasana. So Virasana's pose, and I will be joining you as well. So without further ado, let us begin in our practice. And we will begin in Virasana. So just begin in a seated position, and Virasana is a great pose to start our class with. So if you have a blanket, you can always sit in Sukhasana, which is simple cross-legged pose. The pose that I'm going to be taking today is called Virasana, which will require you to sit on one single block, and you can place that block on either the medium or on the lowest setting. I'm going to put it on the medium setting. Now, if you have two blocks, you may want to consider sitting on two blocks if you feel like there's too much tension in your knees or in the back. The more height we have here, really the easier it is on the knees and the easier it is on the back muscles. And just begin. Excuse me. Just begin to breathe here as you allow your attention to be in your breath. And we're going to take our hands and we're going to grab hold of a strap, yoga strap. If you don't have a yoga strap, you could just use a belt. If you don't have a block and you're trying to understand how to sit, you could just sit in a cross-legged position. So the block is a variation pose. We take the block in order for us to just have a little bit more height in those hips. Otherwise, just begin to sit with crossed legs. So notice the tops of the feet releasing down to the mat. So the feet are not sickling out. The feet are actually directly behind the heels. So typically the feet can kind of turn in, and that can cause a little bit of discomfort here. So you want to see that the feet are really in line with the ankle bone, and your shins are right under your calves, and your knees are right in front of your hips. And maybe the knees are coming slightly in towards each other in what we call an internal rotation. And you'll take your left hand and place it under your left calf, and you'll take your right hand and place it under your right calf, and just move the calf flesh away from the inner calf to the outer calf. So this action happens constantly in our practice. This is the legs. The legs are releasing from the outer thigh to the inner thigh. And then you'll take hold of your strap, and you'll just begin to raise your arms up towards the ceiling in a V-like shape as you pull your arms away from one another. So you're holding onto the strap, and the left arm is drawing to the left, and the right arm is drawing to the right. And your arms are what we call external rotation, meaning that your outer arms are wrapping in towards your inner arms, so that the pinkies start to face the front of the room and the thumbs start to face the back of the room. And what this action does is it actually spreads the scapula, or the bones that are lining across those floating ribs. And then from here, you'll glide your arms slightly over towards your left side. Good. And you'll come back to center, and you'll glide your arms slightly to your right. Nice. You'll come back to center here, and then you'll release the strap and just place the strap down to the side. Good. So we're going to take a pose. It's called Padangoyasana. Pada means bound. Goyasana is referring to the fingers, so it's bound fingers pose. You could take the fingers, interlace the fingers here, press the palms forward in front of you, draw the outer shoulders in towards the shoulder girdle, allow the belly to hug in, And as you begin to draw that belly in, softening those frontal ribs, begin to lift those arms up. So lift the arms up, continuing to keep the frontal ribs moving towards the frontal hip bones. And as you continue to lengthen here, feel the back ribs lifting more than the front ribs. So really this pose or this stretch is intended for lengthening along the back side of the body. And as you exhale here, release the fingers, keep the palms facing one another. We're going to take the left palm and bring it directly behind us. And we're going to take the right palm and cross it over the top of the left knee. As you continue to breathe here, turn the chest over from right to left. And see that the weight is even in both hips. Allow that belly to hug in. Allow the chest to revolve. And continue to breathe here. Good, come back to center, interlace the fingers the opposite way. So this is also called Badangalayasana. Press your fingers forward in front of you. Lift your fingers all the way up towards the ceiling here. So as you lift your fingers up towards the ceiling, pull the fingers apart. See that the right arm is joining the right. See that the left arm is joining the left. Spread across those fingers here. Good. And as you continue to breathe, feel the back ribs once again lifting more than the front ribs. So you can feel the essence of the rib cage lifting up here, the top of the chest. And the top of the chest, ideally, those frontal ribs are drawing towards the frontal hip bones. And as you exhale here, release the hands down, or release the hands from one another. Spread across the fingers. Turn the chest over to face the right side of the room. Release the right hand behind you. Take the left palm and cross it over the top of your right thigh and begin to twist here. Good, and back to center again. And be here for a moment. So see that the breath is long and slow here. Allow that breath to be subtle. Allow that breath to be long and slow. And then from here, as you feel ready, you'll take a strap, or you'll take a block rather. You'll place the block right out in line with your left hip here. You'll take your right arm. You'll place your right hand behind the back of the head, and you'll just begin to lift your right elbow up towards the ceiling. As you begin to lift, release the back of the head in towards that right palm. So continuing to breathe here as you lift up through that right elbow. See that the left shoulder is moving in towards the back of the chest. Allow that heart to begin to open. Good. And then you'll take the other side of the pose. So now taking a block to the opposite side. Left arm comes up to the ceiling. Left hand comes behind the back of the head. Lean back so that the back of the head moves in towards that left palm. See that the left elbow is lifting up towards the ceiling. Wrap your right outer shoulder blade in. And continue to breathe here as you lift through that left elbow. Good, and as you exhale, release here. Okay, take your hands now. We got one more pose. Take your hands and place your hands underneath your armpits. This you probably have not done before. You're gonna draw your armpits up and see that your elbows draw back in towards one another. Spread across the fingers here. See that the backs of those shoulders begin to release down the spine. As you allow the trapezius muscles to move away from the ears, see if you can engage your frontal hip points and let that belly hug in as the frontal chest releases down to those frontal hip points. Keep breathing here as you lift through the chest, and inhale, float those arms up towards the ceiling. And as you exhale here, glide those fingers down to the mat. Press down through the fingers, inhale, peel up the chest. And then you'll remove the block from behind the knees and find your way into tabletop pose. So as you find your way into tabletop pose, spread across the fingers here. See that the index fingers are lined up with the inner edges of the mat. Press through the thumbs, press through the forefingers, and allow the fingers to spread wide apart. As you continue to wrap the outer arms in, firm those triceps in, engage the belly here as you tuck the toes underneath, float the thigh bones back, and find your way into downward facing dog pose. In downward facing dog pose, spread across the fingers here. See that your forearms are lifting up. See that your outer triceps are wrapping in. Allow the head to release down towards the mat. So as you continue to breathe here, allow your spine to lengthen here and hug the belly in towards the back of the spine. As you exhale, lower those knees down to the mat and find your way back into tabletop pose. So tabletop pose, we spread across the fingers. We continue to engage the triceps, so the triceps roll in. Maybe, and this is an action that I've heard many times before, maybe the elbows begin to face, or the inner elbows begin to face the wrist. And from here, you're going to begin to move through a couple rounds of what we call cat and cow pose. So as you inhale, peel your chest on up. Exhale, round through the spine. As you inhale, once again, floating the chest on up, you'll notice that the triceps start to move in towards one another. As you exhale, rounding the spine. So once again, you'll feel the belly hugging in. You'll feel the frontal hip points drawing towards the frontal ribs. As you inhale, peel the chest on forward so that the inner thighs drive on back and the backs of the feet press on down. As you exhale, continue to press down through those inner feet. Continue to feel the sit bones releasing down towards the backs of the knees as the shoulders release down towards the fingers. As you tuck the toes underneath, press those thigh bones back. Engage your core muscles here, downward facing dog. And downward facing dog pose, breathing here. So spread across those fingers, lift the inner forearms up, wrap the outer triceps in. And breathing here. So begin to walk your feet forward towards the hands and come into a nice long forward fold here. Release the head on down. You can close the eyes if you want, but you want to allow the weight to be even in the feet. So see that there's weight in the heels. See that there's weight in the toes. Feel the calves moving towards your shins. Feel the thighs drawing back towards the hamstrings. Now take your hands and place your hands behind your low back as you press down through the feet. Draw the chest up. Smooth the flesh of the bum away from the backs of the knees. So smooth the buttocks flesh towards the backs of the heels. And open the palms out to your sides. Spread across the fingers here. See that your chest is spreading wide apart so that the sternum lengthens all the way out to the armpits. As you inhale here, float the arms up and above your head and revolve your outer arms towards your inner arms so that the shoulder blades spread along the spine. As you exhale here, hinge at the hips and release your hands all the way down towards your mat. As you inhale, take your hands to the shins, lengthen through chest, heart, and sternum. As you exhale, hinge and fold. As you inhale, float the arms up towards the ceiling. Engage the belly here. Keep wrapping those outer triceps in. And as you exhale, glide the arms out to the sides and see that the fingers are extended here. See that the thighs press back. See that the belly's engaged. Inhale, floating those arms up towards the ceiling, Urdhva Hastasana. As you exhale, hinge and fold. Inhale, lengthening through the chest, the heart, the sternum here. And as you exhale, folding forward again. Inhale, raising those arms up towards the ceiling, lengthening through the fingers, spinning the outer arms in. And as you exhale, gliding those fingers back down and to the sides. And once again, inhale, raising the arms up. Exhale, hinging and folding here. Inhale, lengthening halfway. Exhale, folding. Inhale, raising the arms up towards the ceiling, palms face one another. And as you exhale, gliding those arms out to the sides and seeing that the palms face the front of the room. Good. So we're going to do this one more time, and we're going to find our way into downward facing dog. So inhale, float the arms up and above your head. As you exhale, hinge and fold here. Inhale, lengthening halfway. Good. As you exhale, take those hands to the mat. Walk the feet back. Downward facing dog. Downward facing dog, lower those knees down to the mat. And as you feel ready, spreading across the fingers here, begin to see that the shoulders draw back and begin to see that the belly hugs in. Inhale, take the right leg back. Press that right heel back. Continue to spread across the fingers as you press down through the fingertips. As you exhale, lower that right knee down. As you inhale, float the left leg back. So once again, spread across the fingers here. Engage the belly. See that you have equal length in the left and right sides of the body. So the right outer hip does have to draw back slightly, and you have to continue to maintain an inwardness or drawing in of the belly. So you exhale, lower that left knee down. Tuck the toes underneath. Pressing through the fingers, floating the thigh bones back and up. Downward facing dog pose. Downward facing dog pose here. Good. And from downward facing dog pose, looking forward in between the hands, walking the feet forward. Inhale, lengthening through the chest. Exhale, hinging at the hips. Inhale, raising those arms all the way up towards the ceiling, palms face each other. And as you exhale, glide those arms back down and out to the sides. Hands come to the hips once again, stepping the left foot out to the left, stepping the right foot out to the right, and being here for a moment. So now we're going to turn our left foot in. We're going to turn our right leg out. And our legs are in what we call external rotation here. So the right thigh is externally rotating from the hip socket, meaning that the leg is turning out, right? So when the leg turns out, the buttocks, it moves in underneath the body. The action of the body does not reflect the action that we're working towards in the body. So even though the leg is moving into external rotation from the top of the hip to the back of the hip, we're working towards an internal rotation of the inner leg. And the reason we do that is because as the leg continues to revolve outward, we notice that the knee starts to move out. We notice that the leg starts to move out. So we work towards turning the right thigh in. And what that does is it keeps the knee in a neutral alignment with the hip and with the ball of the foot. So everything stays in its particular plane. As you feel ready, take your right hand, place it on a block right behind your right foot, and then begin to spin your chest up towards the ceiling. So press through the right ball of the foot here. Begin to turn your chest any amount towards the ceiling, and inhale, float that left arm up. So as you float that left arm up, press through the left ball of the foot, bend slightly into that right knee, and begin to look up at those left fingers as you begin to revolve here. See that that left toes are pressing down. See that that right arm is extended up towards the ceiling here as you breathe. Continue to lengthen through the chest, the heart, the sternum. And as you inhale here, raise that left arm up towards the ceiling. Hands come to the hips again. Now we're going to take the right foot, turn it on in. You're going to take the left leg, turn it on out, and place the block right behind the left foot. Hands are on the hips once again. Press through the right outer foot. Draw the left hip back. See that the left side of the chest keeps drawing forward. So once again here, left outer hip is revolving back, and the left buttocks is moving underneath the body. The left thigh is moving like this. It's moving into the body. It's moving into the body. So it keeps the left knee in a single plane. And as you feel ready, hinge at that hip. Take your left hand to the block. Now, if you feel like you're leaning too far forward, please consider placing a second block on top. Especially as a beginner, it's more important that you maintain length than it is that you try to release the hand all the way down to the floor. That happens over time. Light bend in that left knee and begin to lift your right arm up. Now breathe here as you continue to lengthen both arms in opposite directions. Keep pressing to the right ball of the foot. Keep allowing for the left big toe mound to press down as you firm the left buttocks in. Inhale, float the right arm on. Take your hands to your hips and turn the feet back to parallel. Step your feet back together. See that the toes are touching here. And as you feel ready, begin to open your chest, open the arms out to your sides. Good. So from here, we're going to take a pose called Ardha Chandrasana, and this is a more classical variation. You're going to take your fingers, you're going to lengthen through your pointer fingers, and as you feel ready, take your arms forward in front of you. Inhale, raise the arms up and over the head. So you'll notice here the chest already begins to lift up. So again, you hug the belly in, wrap the outer arms, and begin to take the fingers over towards your right side. So press through the left outer foot. Begin to take those fingers over the right. Good. As you inhale, come back to center. And as you exhale, gliding your fingers over to the opposite side. So these are called lateral side stretches. Inhale back to center. Good. Bring the hands back into the center chest. Bring your knuckles together right behind your throat. Lift the chest, lift the heart, lift the sternum up. And begin to push the tops of the elbows towards one another. Lift the chest here, breathe. As you exhale, bring the elbows up towards the ceiling and release the chin down towards the chest. This is a Shivananda practice. Shivananda is a yogi India practice. Take your elbows, draw your elbows towards one another. Lengthen through the chest, the heart, the sternum, breathe here. As you exhale, begin to draw those elbows up towards the ceiling. Allow the chin to point down towards the fingers. Allow the belly to hug in. One more time. Draw the elbows towards one another. Inhale, feel up the chest, the heart, the sternum. And as you exhale, release the hands back down and to the sides. Good. All right. As you feel ready here, float the arms up and above your head. As you exhale, hinge and fold. As you inhale, raise through those arms. So take the hands down to the mat, walk the feet back, find your way into downward facing dog pose. Downward facing dog pose. This time lower the knees back down to your mat. Spread across the fingers here. Engage the belly, engage the core. Take the right leg and float the right leg on back. So this time you're lifting up your right leg. As you lift up that right leg, spin the right outer hip in, firm in the right buttocks, and pin in the left hip. So the left hip, it juts out to the left here. Can you draw the left hip back to center as you continue to elongate and lift the chest? As you exhale, lower that right knee down. We're going to do the same to the left. Spread across the fingers here. Firm the outer triceps in. See that the forearms are drawing forward towards the wrists, and then begin to lift up your left leg. So once you lift up the left leg, flex through that foot. See that the left toes point down towards the mat. Allow the left outer thigh to revolve in. Allow the left inner leg to lift on up. Hug that belly in. And as you press through the fingers here, continue to lift through that belly. As you exhale, lower that left knee on down. Spread across the fingers. Press down through the fingers. Press down through the feet. Float the legs up. Downward facing dog pose. So the downward facing dog pose, continuing to see that the fingers lengthen forward, continuing to see that the hips lengthen on back, and releasing the head all the way down. And breathing here in downward facing dog. So we're holding this one for a moment, and this gives us an opportunity to really extend through our side body, to keep those knees bent, to keep lifting through our inner forearms, to continue to keep feeling the spine drawing in opposite directions. As you exhale here, lower these knees down to the mat. Take your hands, place them on blocks. Step your right foot in between the hands. Press down through the left ball of the foot. As you press that left ball of the foot down, spin that left heel in. Take your hands, place them on the hips, and begin to inhale, peel that chest on up. Good. As you feel ready here, hinge at that right hip. Begin to lean forward, lean forward, lean forward. And taking your block, placing it right behind your right hand. Right hand comes to the block, left hand's on the left hip crease. Inhale, float the left arm up towards the ceiling. So see that that left hip spins down towards the mat. Press through the right ball of the foot. Draw the right side of the chest forward. Draw the left shoulder back. And breathe here. And as you inhale one more time, lift that left arm up. So now the hands placed back on those hips. And you want to see that the left hip is turned in slightly. You want to see that the right hip is drawing back. And as you feel ready, bend deeply into that right knee. And as you bend right knee deeply, you'll begin to feel both your feet pressing down to the mat. So the right ball of the foot, the right heel of the foot, right buttocks firms in. Now take your arms out to your sides. See that the left arm is lengthening back. See that the right arm is lengthening forward. Keep sinking down into those hips. Straighten across that right leg one more time and take those hands to the hips. We're going to do that one more time. So bend deeply into that right knee. Again, you could remain here with hands on the hips. The right buttocks is moving underneath the body. The right thigh is pressing down towards the mat. Press the left ball of the foot down. Inhale, extend those arms all the way out to the sides. Lengthen across the chest, the heart, the sternum. As you straighten through that right leg, hands come back to the hips. One more time here, hinge at that right hip. Maybe your right hand comes lower down on those blocks. See that there's weight even in the inner and the outer right foot. So you're not drifting all your weight back to the right hip. You can feel the right buttocks hugging in. There's a mild bend in that right knee as you lift the left arm up. Breathe here. So continue to take 5 more breaths as you press through the left ball of the foot. Thigh bone, left thigh bone draws back. Right buttocks hugs in. Left shin moves into the, or left calf moves into the left shin. Feel both sides of the belly drawing in. Feel the center chest lifting up all the way through the left fingers. Inhale, float that left arm up and take your hands to your hips. So we spin our feet to face one another here, and then we turn our feet to the opposite side. And we externally rotate through the legs once again, and we place our hands on the hips. As you place your hands on the hips, press down through the left ball of the foot, right outer hip is turned in, and as you breathe, just hinge forward, hinge forward, hinge forward. Place your left hand on the block. Keep pressing through the right ball of the foot. Keep opening the chest here. Inhale, float that right arm up towards the ceiling. So once again, we come back to Utthita Trikonasana, white bend in that left knee. Keep pressing through the right ball of the foot. Lift the right side of the chest here as you breathe. Keep extending through your heart, your chest, your sternum. The belly hugs in, and the frontal ribs move towards the frontal hip points. Inhale, float that arm back up and take your hands back to your hips. They're going to bend deeply into that left knee. Left knee tracks with the second toe. See that you're pressing back into the right outer foot here. Just straighten across that left leg. And again, you'll bend deeply into that knee. So the skin of the inner leg lengthens to the inner knee. The outer knee lengthens to the outer hip. And breathe here. And straighten across that leg. One more time. Bend deeply into that knee. Arms come out to the sides. Lengthen the right arm back. Lengthen the left arm forward. See that the right toes are pressing down. Good. And as you exhale, straighten across that left leg. Hinge at that hip. Glide the left hand down. Extend the right arm up towards the ceiling. Press through the left ball of the foot. Continue to breathe here as you press the right ball of the foot down, right heel down, and begin to spin your chest all the way up towards those right fingers. Keep lengthening here as you continue to breathe. Allow the left big toe mound to press down. Allow the left buttocks to draw in. Keep lifting through that right arm. So again, we're here for 4 more breaths, and this is really just a way for us to create length in the body. Spread across the fingers, firm the outer triceps in, hug the navel in. See that the left buttocks is hugging underneath you. See that the right thigh is pressing back as you press down through the right ball of the foot. Allow for the chest to draw in and lengthen towards the crown of the head. Inhale, float that right arm up. Take your hands to the hips, turn the feet back to parallel. And as you feel ready here, step your feet back together. So we come into what we call Tadasana pose, or standing mountain pose. And I think that this is our first Tadasana of the day. So spread across the fingers here, firm in those triceps, engaging the belly here as you breathe. Good. Inhale, float the arms up towards the ceiling here. Exhale, hinge at the hips and fold. Inhale, lengthening through chest, heart, and sternum. As you exhale, take the hands down to the mat, walk the feet back, find your way into downward facing dog pose again. So downward facing dog pose, once again, lower those knees down to the mat. So we spread across the fingers here. Firm the outer arms in, hug in through the belly. One more time, we lift up through that right leg. So the right toes start by facing the ground. The right toes are flexed. The left outer hip pins in. Eventually, what you're going to begin to do is externally rotate that right leg so the right foot turns to the wall, towards the right wall. The left outer hip continues to pin in. The chest continues to lengthen here. Now, if you'd like, maybe begin to bring your right hand to the right hip crease. Good. Stay here. See if you can hold your balance. Maybe, maintaining your balance, you'll lift the right arm all the way up towards the ceiling. If you lose your balance, we're fairly low off the ground, so you can just lower your right leg on down and keep your right arm extended up. Good. We'll be here for another 3, 2, 1, and release. So release the arm down, spin the leg down, and release that knee down. So come back to tabletop pose. Again, spread across the fingers here, firm the outer arms in. Breathe here as you hug the navel in towards the back of the spine. As you press down through that right shin, inhale, float that left leg on up. So see that left outer hip pins down. See that right outer hip pins in. Spread across the fingers here. Firm the outer triceps in and breathe. As you continue to breathe, spin that left foot in towards the center of the room. Good. And allow yourself to continue to draw the belly in towards the chest. So once you externally rotate through the leg, you need to allow for the weight to travel even in the right hand and the right foot. Come up onto the fingertips of the left hand. I'll pause here. Press down through the fingers. Press down to the right shin, right foot. Maybe begin to float the left hand to the left hip crease. Whoop. If you feel like your balance is off here, look down towards the mat. Look down towards the mat. It keeps the balance a little bit more focused. And then from here, maybe float the left arm up. So spin that left hip down slightly, even though the toes are still facing the left side of the room. Keep that left arm lifted. Breathe here. Be here for another 3, 2, 1, and release that left palm down. Okay, as you exhale, float the thighs on back. Find your way back into downward facing dog pose. And downward facing dog pose. Walk the feet forward towards the hands. Inhale, lengthen here. Hands come to shins. Exhale, open. Inhale, sweep the arms up towards the ceiling. Urdhva arms. As you exhale, glide the hands back down into the sides. So, we're going to move into a pose called Ardha Chandrasana. So make sure that you have a wall within your reaching distance. And you're going to take your block. You only need one block here, so if you have two, just move your second block away from you. And you're going to take yourself your block right next to the wall. So block right next to the wall. And you're going to take triangle pose here. So let's start by spreading the toes wide apart. Turning our feet to the right side of the room. So we already began to set up for triangle pose, which we've been in many times. We've been in already twice. This is our third time. So as you feel ready, take your right hand down to that block and keep your left hand on your hip. You can, if you want to, extend the left arm up towards the ceiling to take full triangle. Firm the right outer buttocks in. See that the left pinky toe side of the foot's pressing down. Left thigh is drawing back. You notice the left leg is in rotation here in comparison to your right leg. Keep extending through those fingers. In the right leg, the right calf's moving to the right shin. The right outer buttocks is hugging underneath you, and you're lifting up through those side ribs, all the way up through the armpits. Good. Now, place your left hand on the left hip. Begin to bend that right knee and step your left foot in. You're going to take your right foot forward. Your right foot is still against the wall. You could even lean your right buttocks into the wall for a moment here. We're not going to be there, but you could do it for a moment. And then from here, as you shift the buttocks away from the wall, you're going to begin to step forward again, bring the block forward again, and begin to lift that left leg up. So you try to keep your left buttocks away from the wall. However, you can begin to lift that left leg up so that the left heel begins to glide up towards the wall, maybe as a balancing effort here. That's it. Now, as you continue to press through the right palm, spread across the toes here, begin to float the left foot slightly to the center of the room. It's a heel-to-heel alignment here. And then, if you'd like, you can extend your left arm out towards the ceiling. You can let your eyes face the ground the entire time. So external rotation in the legs, wrapping down of the left outer hip to protect the hip, lifting up through the right center chest. So both arms are lengthening in opposite directions. You could feel your left arm lengthening back. You could feel the belly hugging in here as you begin to lengthen both sides of the chest. As you exhale, softly bend that right knee. Bring your left hand down to the left hip. Slowly lower that left leg down and place the left leg back and behind you. Step the left leg back, and you're going to come back into triangle pose. So lift that left arm up and breathe here. From triangle pose, let's take that block, bring it into the hands, and we're going to take the other side. So we'll already place the block on the other side. And we'll place our hands on the hips. So we're already kind of set up for triangle pose. We're ready for that external rotation. So make sure you don't have any props that are going to get in your way. I'm fairly confident the picture won't get in my way here. But if you have an object or a picture on the wall, just make sure you're in a position where you don't have to worry about the picture getting in your way. As you press down through the left ball of the foot, firm the left outer buttocks in and place your left hand on a block behind you. Good. Right hand's on the hip here. You can, for a moment, lift the right arm up towards the ceiling. So even before we take Ardha Chandrasana, we're still lining up the actions of the pose. The right outer foot presses down. The right heel draws back. Right thigh draws back. The right hip releases down to the mat. And as you lengthen across your fingers, belly hugs in. The frontal ribs move to the frontal hip points. If the left hip draws to the wall, press to the left big toe and mound of the foot and draw the left buttocks towards the center of the room. A light bend in that left knee can be very nice to protect the hip and to also ensure that the body is in a stable alignment. Take the right hand down to the right hip crease. Bend into that left knee, step the left hand or left block forward, and step the right foot in. Pause here. You're going to take the block forward one more time. you're going to begin to lift up through that right leg, lift up through that right leg, lift up through that right leg, and place the right leg to level of the hip. As you feel ready here, glide that right arm up towards the ceiling and breathe here. Hug the belly in. See that your left hand fingers are spread wide apart. Feel the left tricep drawing back. Spread across those toes. Feel the left knee bending slightly. Feel the left outer buttocks drawing in. Good. If the right heel is against the wall, you can try to move it into the center of the room for a moment. Keep the eyes on the floor if your balance is off. If your balance is good, maybe turn the head to the side of the room. Allow the left shoulder to lengthen up towards the right fingers. Allow the back shoulder blades to be spread wide apart here. Keep lifting through that right leg as you breathe here for another 3, 2, and 1. Bend that left knee, release that leg on down, and inhale, float the right arm up. So we teach a Trikonasana. And from here, we'll lift up through the chest, we'll bring our hands to our hips, and we'll turn our feet back to center. We're going to step the feet together one more time. So as we step the feet together, you'll notice that the legs feel maybe even a little bit longer in this pose. That's natural here. That happens as we take our way into Ardha Chandrasana. And as you continue to breathe here, just begin to see that your breath is long and slow. So spread across the fingers, firm the outer thighs in, engage the belly here, spread across the fingers, lengthen through the chest, the heart, the sternum. Take the hands to the hips, step the feet wide apart, and breathe here. So now, as you feel ready, you're going to take your head and you're going to place your head on blocks. So we're coming into Prasarita Padottanasana. So you want to see that the crown of the head is releasing down to the mat. If you can release the head down to the mat, great. Very nice. If I bring my legs really wide apart, I can easily release my head down to the mat. But I like to try to work the pose a little bit with the legs a little closer together. And the reason for that is because it just helps to create a little bit more stability in the body. Now, over time, you'll notice that the head can release down. So that's natural. The head releases down. Maybe you lower the block. Maybe you lower the setting. Maybe if the head's just floating off the floor, you can release the head all the way. Or maybe you just take a blanket here and you use a blanket to support the head. So see that the weight is shifting from the inner foot to the outer foot. Allow the inner thighs to draw on back. Allow the belly to draw on in. And breathe here. So you walk the hands back. You see that the heel of the palm is in line with the heel of the foot. And then as you inhale, walk the hands on forward. Come up onto these blocks. Just lift the chest here. So this is a really high variation of Prasarita Padottanasana. Keep lengthening through the chest, the heart, the sternum here. Good. So you feel ready. Heel toe the feet towards one another. And begin to lift your way up into a standing pose. Spread across the fingers here. See that the outer feet are pressing down. See that the inner legs are lifting up. Feel your belly hugging in. Feel your frontal ribs drawing to the frontal hip points. And feel this spreading across the backs of the shoulders. So this is called Tadasana or mountain pose. And then as you feel ready here, we're going to take our way onto the mats and find our way onto our backs. So with our blocks, you can just have them within a reaching distance. You may come back to them. For now, we're just going to begin to grab hold of our strap once again. You're going to lower yourself down onto your mat. And then we're going to start by taking our right knee into the chest. You can just have the strap at your disposal if you need it. Draw the elbows down towards the mat. Lengthen the buttocks flesh all the way towards the heels. So see that the left buttock lengthens to the back of the left heel. See that the right buttock lengthens to the back of the right heel. Draw both elbows down towards the mat. Breathe here. Good. Release that right foot on down. Hug the left knee into the chest and do the same. Left knee hugs into the chest. Left knee moves to the left shoulder. Left outer hip moves away from us. And then you'll release that foot down. So once again, you're going to take the left knee into the chest. You're going to take your strap and place it over top of the left foot, just underneath the ball of the foot. As you inhale, float the right leg up towards the ceiling here. See that both shoulders release in towards the chest, and the sternum begins to lift up towards the ball of the right foot. So as that sternum lifts up, maybe begin to lengthen the left leg forward and press the top of the left thigh down. Begin to see that both shoulders release down as you lengthen your right outer hip away from you. Continue to breathe here as you press the right ball of the foot all the way up towards the ceiling here. This is called Supta Padangusthasana pose. So the fingers are holding onto that strap. The back of the leg is growing longer here. The outer right hip is drawing towards the left heel, and your belly is drawing down towards the ground. You would draw the left knee to a bend again. You'll take the right knee to a bend. You'll release the right foot on down. You're going to take the left knee and do exactly the same. So the left knee comes on in. You grab hold of the foot, and then you place the strap right over the foot as you lengthen your left heel all the way up towards the ceiling here. So Supta Padangusthasana poses, they're intended to create length in the backs of the legs. So as we take this pose, not only that, but it's also an inversion, believe it or not. Our legs are way above our chest. So it's an Ardha variation or a half variation pose. And you'll extend your right leg forward. When you hear the word vipariti, it means inverted. So vipariti, it's a viparitiyasana. You're drawing the left outer hip away from you, firming the left outer hip in, drawing your outer shoulders down towards the chest, hugging your belly in, and breathing here. Close those eyes. And eventually you're just going to allow the body to elongate naturally. So yoga, in the beginning, we're pushing these stretches. We're trying to get into these deeper stretches. But as time goes on, eventually you're allowing the body to relax into these deeper stretches. So we're just allowing the body to relax here. And then as you feel ready, right knee bends, left knee bends. Release the left foot on down. And both knees release over towards your left side. We are doing, this is called simple twist. Both knees release over to the left. You know, if you want, you could place a block in between your legs. Sometimes I like to do that because it keeps my hips in a more neutral rotation. I just place a block in between, and it really does. It helps to kind of allow the hips to release even more. Good, and as you exhale, taking your legs to center and to the other side. Okay, and eventually what you're going to begin to do is just extend your legs all the way forward. So hug the knees into the chest first. See that your knees are releasing down. You're in Apanasana. Just move the head right and left a few times. Release the feet down to the mat. Lift the buttocks up. So the buttocks moves towards the heels. Actually, might as well take the hands to the sides of the body. Hold on to the outer edge of the mat. Just lift the pelvis up. So we'll take one back bend here, just so that we can kind of open up the chest before we close class. And as you exhale, lower the pelvis down. Right leg comes out, left leg comes out. Palms face the ceiling. And breathing here. And then you'll bring the knees to a bent position. You'll roll over onto your side. And as you feel ready, you'll press your way on up and find your way into a seated position here. Okay. So you'll sit down on a blanket and you'll begin to find your way into a simple cross-legged pose. So usually when we close the yoga class, we take our hands into the center chest, bring our hands into the chest just like this. And as we exhale, we release the chin towards the chest. Namaste. So as you say namaste, that means may I bow to you, or may I praise you, or may I, or it's actually like praise be to you, or bowing towards you. So it's just a gesture of kindness. It's like a way of saying thank you or appreciation. So as you feel ready, lift the head, gently open the eyes. Thank you guys so much. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's practice. My name is Jason Gorenstein. This is our um, Hatha Yoga Level 1 class for beginners. I hope that you guys have a phenomenal rest of your day. Please let me know if you have any questions. We'll be doing class throughout today, 9 a.m., 12 p.m., 3 p.m., so hopefully you can join us for another practice today. And I wish all of you an incredible rest of your day. Be well, be happy, my friends. Namaste. Now, one last thing. If you guys are watching, wherever you guys are watching, if you guys are watching on YouTube, please consider hitting the subscribe button on my page. If you guys are watching on Facebook, please consider hitting the like button on my page. This gives you updates on videos and chat and different information with regards to yoga. So these are some of the ways that you can be a part of the practice. And guys, if you have any questions, let me know. I'm accessible. Please feel free to reach out to me if you guys have any questions whatsoever. I wish all of you an incredible rest of your day with peace and happiness. Thank you guys so much. I'll look forward to seeing you all very, very soon. Namaste. Thank you.